You know what breaks my heart? Watching brilliant professionals with decades of experience get overlooked because their LinkedIn reads like a company directory. I'm talking about leaders who have grown teams, driven revenue, built businesses, and yet they're invisible online. They're not being seen for their real value, and that invisibility costs them opportunities every single day. I hear it all the time. Renee, I've been applying for months and nothing's happening. And as I always say, let's look at your LinkedIn profile. Within seconds, it's obvious. Their profile speaks to their peers, not to the people making decisions. It's filled with jargon and titles that make perfect sense internally, but do not grab a hiring leader's attention. It's not a branding issue. It's a communication issue. They're telling the wrong story to the right audience. So today, I'm going to show you why updating your LinkedIn now before the year ends can completely change how hiring leaders perceive you. Because companies are already finalizing their 2026 plans, and the professionals who refresh their profiles today are the ones who will get discovered tomorrow. This isn't theory. This is how hiring actually works behind the scenes. Hey friend, welcome back to the Conscious Professional Podcast. I'm your host, Renee Frey, career strategist, mindset coach, and your ultimate hype woman for work and life. Every week, I pull back the curtain on what really drives career growth and fulfillment, the mindset shifts, the strategies, and the truth-telling pep talks you need to hear. Because if you're going to spend 1/3 of your life working, you deserve to work happy. Whether you're new here or a longtime listener, I'm thrilled you tuned in. Let's get intentional, let's get inspired, and let's grow together. All right, let's dive in. Most LinkedIn profiles are written like an internal company bio. Formal, factual, and completely forgettable. They sound like a job description instead of a compelling narrative. That's the first mistake. Hiring leaders aren't scanning for who's been in their role the longest. They're scanning for who can help them win. I'll never forget, we had a search for a senior operations director, and I had two incredible candidates. One had 20 years of experience, the other had 8. The one who landed the interview first, the one whose headline said, driving 30% cost savings through lean transformation and team leadership. The other, operations director at XYZ Manufacturing. Same industry, same capabilities, but one spoke the language of impact. The other spoke the language of titles. Guess which one got an interview and the offer? You guessed it. When your headline says project manager at ABC Corp, it tells them what you are, not why you matter. A hiring leader doesn't care what your title is. They care what you can do for them. When I'm recruiting, I skim thousands of profiles a week. The ones that stand out are the ones that communicate clarity of impact. Here's what's wild. Your peers will think your profile looks great because it matches everyone else's. But to a recruiter or a VP that's scanning in a hurry, it's invisible. It's noise. The professionals who get traction are the ones who make every line on their profile answer this silent question. Why should I reach out to you? Why should I call you? And when your profile speaks that language, you instantly get separated from the pack. This part might sting a little. Visibility matters more than experience. I've recruited people with half of the qualifications of another candidate who got hired simply because they were easy to find and understand. The best talent doesn't always win. The most visible talent does. And I get it. That can feel extremely frustrating. I felt the same way years ago. When I left Target to start Talent Q, I had a ton of recruiting experience. And I had a great network. But 7 years later, when I wanted to grow again, I realized I'd become invisible. People had forgotten who I was and what I stood for. I had to rekindle relationships, remind people of my expertise, and start showing up consistently online. And the moment I began sharing insights, stories, and real talk about hiring, everything shifted. Doors opened, opportunities came to my company. It wasn't about bragging. It was about being visible and reminding the world what I bring to the table. You can have 20 years of incredible results, but if you're hidden behind a generic profile, the world doesn't know you exist. Hiring leaders can't value what they can't see. The professionals who land jobs faster aren't necessarily more talented. They've simply made their value obvious. And here's something most professionals don't realize. When a company thinks you might be a fit for a role, they Google you before they ever call you. And what shows up first? Your LinkedIn profile. It's your digital storefront. Even if you applied through their career site, the very next step most of them do is look you up online. And I can tell you from years of experience, they do it every single time. If your LinkedIn is outdated, incomplete, or written like a job manual, it instantly creates hesitation. But when it's clear, confident, and shows real results, it reinforces everything on your resume and builds the excitement for them to meet you. Your LinkedIn isn't optional anymore. It's validation. It tells them, yes, this person's the real deal. And here's the truth. Visibility isn't about bragging. It's about accessibility. It's about letting people find you when they're looking for someone who does what you do best. Recruiters are using search filters, keywords, and headlines to scan. And if your message isn't clear, you'll never show up in their search results. So stop thinking of LinkedIn as self-promotion. Start thinking of it as a visibility tool. Your digital handshake that opens the door before you even walk in. I need you to hear this. Right now is the best time of the year to get ahead. Most professionals hit pause during the holidays. They stop posting. They stop applying for jobs. They stop connecting. They say, I'll start looking for a job in January. That can be my New Year's resolution. But the fact is, companies don't stop hiring. Matter of fact, in all my years of running Talent Q and being a recruiter for over 2 decades, December is usually our best month of the year. That's facts, my friends. Companies need to use up budgets and get those hires in the door. It's just like the gym in December. It's half empty. The people who keep showing up quietly, they walk into January ahead of the crowd. Same with your job search. Momentum loves preparation. The professionals who stay visible now are the ones who wake up in January already working in jobs they love. The people who update their LinkedIn now, this month, this week, today, are the ones who show up at the top when hiring leaders are searching for talent in Q1. When everyone else is coasting, you have a massive advantage. Because momentum rewards movement. Let's talk about what to focus on when you update your LinkedIn. First, your headline. It's the first thing people see, and it carries way more weight than you think. Most people use it like a title line, but it's actually your value proposition. It should instantly communicate what kind of outcomes you create. If you want a hiring leader to see it and think, this person solves the exact problems I have. Because headlines aren't about describing, they're about positioning. It's your chance to plant a flag in the ground and say, here's what I do and why it matters. And here's what most people forget. This little headline follows you everywhere. Every time you post, comment, or engage, it appears right next to your name. It's like a mini billboard that travels with you across LinkedIn, quietly reinforcing your value to everyone who sees it. And while we're talking visuals, I'm a stickler for a professional headshot. Not the cropped vacation photo, cropped wedding picture, not the blurry Zoom screenshot. A clean, confident photo that says, I take myself and my work seriously. And please, don't use that darn default LinkedIn blue banner or their stock images. That's boring. That's not you. Your banner image is prime real estate. Use it to tell a story about the scale of your work, the kind of impact you make. Personally, I love a good cityscape. It says, I think big and I play on a larger stage. You've got to think bigger, more strategic. Because what's bigger than showing a skyline that says, I belong here and I'm ready for more? Next, your about section. This is where you build emotional connection. Most people write it like a formal resume summary. Third person, robotic, detached. But this is where you tell your professional story. Not a list of tasks, but a narrative of growth, leadership, and contribution. You can even use the word I. Actually, it's welcomed. It's the place where you answer, who am I and what do I bring that changes outcomes? Then your experience section. Don't think of it as documenting your past. Think of it as positioning your trajectory. Each role should highlight the kind of results you created, not just the responsibilities you carried. The difference between a resume and a great LinkedIn profile is one lists your work and the other one demonstrates your evolution. And finally, your engagement, your comments, your posts, your shares, people that have made recommendations for you. They're all data points that tell hiring leaders what kind of thinker you are. When you comment on industry posts or you share relevant insights or contribute to professional conversations, you're showing that you're active, confident, and current. That visibility builds familiarity, and familiarity builds trust. One of my clients, Sean, had been in the same job for 8 years. He told me he'd applied for over 100 jobs with no luck. When we reviewed his LinkedIn, it read like a job manual. Perfectly accurate, but emotionally flat. We rewrote his profile to reflect his leadership, his wins, his business impact. Nothing exaggerated, just the truth, clearly stated. Within a week, 3 recruiters reached out. Within a month, he had 2 interviews and a job offer on the table. Same person, same experience. But now the right people could see him. That's the power of alignment, when your profile finally matches your potential. Another client, Melissa, hadn't touched her LinkedIn in 10 years. I know, that's awful. Don't be like Melissa. She wasn't even searching for a job. But after updating her about section and headline to reflect her true expertise, she got a message from a recruiter with her dream role. She didn't chase it. It found her. That's what happens when your message does the heavy lifting. The market isn't broken. It's just saturated. Since the history of time, there have been and will always be job openings. And in a noisy market, clarity is the advantage. Everyone's online saying the same thing. Experienced professional, passionate about results, team player, and none of it means anything anymore. The ones who stand out are the ones who replace buzzwords with truth. When a hiring leader reads your profile and feels like they've just met you, the real, confident, capable version of you, that's when they reach out. You don't need to shout louder. You just need to speak clearly. because visibility without clarity is noise, but clarity with confidence, that's magnetic. So here's my challenge to you. Don't wait until January to start your job search and to update your LinkedIn. Spend one focused afternoon updating your LinkedIn. Refresh your story, refresh your message, refresh your value. Think like a leader who's ready for their next chapter, not an employee waiting for someone else to notice them. Companies are hiring, recruiters are searching, but the people they're finding are the ones who made the decision to show up differently. So make this the moment you show up differently. If you want to learn exactly how companies actually hire, the real process recruiters use to find and prioritize candidates, go to my website, reneefrey.com, and grab my free training. And if this episode hit home, please subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below telling me the first thing that you're updating. Because when you decide to show up, everything changes. Until next time, stay conscious, stay inspired, and keep building the career and life you love. See you next week. Cheers.